The Magus by John Fowles, Episode 2.
So keeping her at arm's length.
God, you look handsome. So brown and ravaged.
Ali, I have to tell you something. I'm in a weird situation. When I first came here, I was so lonely without you. Well, I went to a hall. I caught a disease. I'm better now, but I can't, not for another month. Should have never let you come.
Nico, you really are a hopeless case.
I could use a sister right now.
I didn't come here to be your sister, mate.
Look, this was a mistake. I can't ask you to spend 3 days with a dead man.
A dead man I once loved. Okay, sister, then. Well, brother Nick, what are you going to do with me?
What about Parnassus, Apollo's mountain, where the Muses lived? I'm told it's an easy climb.
Sounds heavenly. Nick, please be kind to me. Don't sit in judgment of everything I do and say like you always used to. I can't help being who I am.
By 8:30 the next morning, we were on the road to Parnassus, happy to be in each other's company, but wary of things unsaid.
So, did you ever find out about the waiting room?
No. God knows what Mitford was on about.
That's a shame. Sounded so mysterious. Oh, look at that little shepherd girl. She's adorable. Take a photo of us.
We really should keep going.
Just take the bloody photo, Nick.
Alison bent and kissed her with a generosity of heart that made me feel ashamed. I knew exactly what Alison was trying to tell me. Look at me, she was saying. I'm good with kids. I could be a good mother if that's what you wanted. I was determined not to rise to the bait.
I thought you said this was an easy walk.
Wanna quit?
Not me, sport.
It'll be damn cold when night falls. There's some kind of hut where walkers can take shelter. There's blankets, stove, saucepan, some tools, and wait for it, pair of skis.
That'll be useful. I've got a blister the size of a dinner plate on my heel. What food do we have left?
Half a loaf, chocolate, sardines, and a few oranges.
I'm an air hostess. I've managed with less. How do you feel about sardines in hot chocolate?
Nauseated.
Get on the bunk. It'll be ready in a minute.
You look good. In your element.
I bloody should. I spend most of my life in a 4x2 galley. Your delicious consomme à la reine is nearly ready, sir. Would you like a drink with that? We have water, or, let's see, water!
Water would be perfect.
Those sardines are looking better by the minute. Just hand me that blanket, would you?
What are you doing?
Undressing. My clothes are damp. You're so brown. Take off your shirt.
We shouldn't...
I don't care. I want to.
Suddenly, it rushed on me quite simply. I did love her. I wanted her and I wanted Julie. And it was love, or as close as I could come to it then, that finally drove me to confess. Ali, I haven't had syphilis. It was a lie. I want to tell you something.
Not now, Nick. Please, not now. I don't care what happened, just please. Make love to me.
And we did make love. Not sex, but love, though sex would have been far wiser. And later, as we lay naked side by side with the wind battering at the door, I told her all about Barani and Julie.
This girl, Julie, is she pretty?
She's totally unlike you or any modern girl.
Is she pretty?
Yes. Very. Look, if I met her tomorrow after what's happened here today, I might say, sorry, nothing doing. But I met her a few weeks ago and I've got to meet her again.
So what now? I'm supposed to curtsy and withdraw?
I wish to God I wasn't so complicated.
complicated.
All right. Selfish, then. It's like being halfway through a book. I can't just throw it in the bin.
So you chuck me instead?
Annie.
Sod off, Nick. Just sod off.
This weekend, I wanted to prove there was no special feeling left between us, but I was wrong. There is. That's why I stopped lying when I could still be deceiving you now.
I'm not the one who's deceived, Nick. And what the hell does special feeling mean? You're not just afraid of love, you're even afraid of using the word.
I don't know what love is.
Well, let me tell you. That last morning we were together, I went to Victoria to see you off. One last surprise, one last kiss, one last whatever. And you were laughing with the guy selling papers, happy as a lark. That's when I found out what love is. Seeing the one person in the world you want to be with, happy to have escaped you. That's love, Nick. And it hurts.
I didn't know. How could I know?
I saw it in your eyes at the airport. For you, I'll always be Alison the vulgar tart, the girl who jumped into bed with you that first night we met. Ali the human boomerang who just keeps coming back no matter how hard you throw her away.
Alison,
don't touch me! All this mystery rubbish you're serving up about this girl. The truth is, you want to go to bed with her. But that's too crude for precious Saint Earth, so you tart it up to make yourself the innocent one. The great intellectual who must have his deep experience.
That's not fair.
Fair! All right, let's talk about fair. Let's find out how special your special feeling is for me. Say the word, and I'll quit my job tomorrow. I'll come and live on your island with you or anywhere you like, and you can have that dreadful, bloody burden of being with someone who loves you. Just say the word and it's done.
You can't decide these things like that.
Yes or no?
This
say
is
it.
stupid.
Yes or no?
No. Annie, come here. Let's just sleep on it.
Let go of me! I hate you! I hate you so much! I wish I was dead!
When I woke the next morning, she was gone. She had left a note on the pillow by my head.
Nick, think what it would be like if you got back to your island and there was no Conscious, no girl, no mysterious fun and games, the whole place locked up forever. I'm finished, Nico. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I'm finished. Finished. Finished.
I posted her a letter of regret and sadness the next morning before I boarded the ferry. It relieved my conscience a little. But by 4 o'clock the next Saturday I was back at the gate of Barani, and to my immense relief, there, walking along the track towards me, was Conscious.
Nicholas, pleasant half-term? You went to Athens?
My friend couldn't make it. Her airline put her on another route.
A shame. Someone is waiting to serve you tea. I warn you, our patient is in mixed spirits. She's disappointed I'm in on the secret between you.
What secret is that?
Not that I know. She is pretending to be an actress now. But I've set her a problem. I have told her I discovered her new disguise only because you told me.
Why? Now she won't trust me.
She never trusted you. She suspects you to be working with me. Now I think she will try a new approach to win you over to her side and turn you against me.
How will she do that?
I am to be an eccentric, perhaps sinister millionaire. She and her sister are young actresses I have brought here for wicked and depraved reasons. You will find her convincing. But remember, however much she may appear to trust you, she does not.
I see.
Of course, you understand the purpose of all this. I wish to bring the poor child to a realization of her true condition by forcing her to confront the artificial situation we are creating here. She will make her first valid step to recovery when one day she stops and says, "This is not the real world. These are not real relationships."
What are the chances of that happening?
Remote. But they exist, especially if you play your part well. I have great confidence in you, Nicholas. Welcome back.
Julie was standing in one of the arches facing the sea. It was a shock to see her in contemporary clothes. A navy blue shirt, white beach trousers, and bare feet. She turned as I appeared, and there was a strange silence, a doubt in both our looks.
Did you enjoy Athens?
No. And before you ask, I didn't meet my friend.
Morris told us you had.
Look, whatever Conscious may have said, I haven't betrayed you.
I wouldn't blame you for thinking I was mad. Sometimes I wonder myself.
Julie, I don't believe you're a famous psychiatric case study. I never believed that.
Are you sure?
This is absurd. We're falling into every trap he sets us. I thought we'd begun to trust each other.
He says you only want to get me into bed.
I don't deny that. But only if you want it. And not only that.
He said something foul about you. That you go to brothels and might have syphilis, so I shouldn't let you kiss me again.
I've had enough of this.
Oh, please, don't go. I just get so confused. It's hard to know what to believe.
He really is a psychiatrist.
Yes, that much is true. He talks a lot about his research and experimental situations.
Why doesn't he tell us what he's trying to achieve?
He says if we knew the final outcome, it would affect how we behave.
I'm no more syphilitic than you are schizophrenic.
I honestly didn't believe that. Truly.
Can we meet somewhere tonight?
It's not easy.
At midnight, by the statue of Poseidon.
If I can. I promise.
Tell me something normal, something real.
Such as...
Where do you come from?
Dorset. We still live there with Mother. Father's dead.
What did he do?
Morris, no!
Conscious must have crept up on us, though I hadn't heard a sound. In his hands he held poised a 4-foot axe, as though raising it ready to sink into my skull.
I found a dead pine. I wish it chopped up.
How dare you creep up like that? My God, I hate you! I hate you!
My dear, you're overexcited. Go and rest.
No!
I insist, Julie. Do as I say.
It's not fair. I hate you! And I hate you, too!
Hey! Julie, that was unforgivable. Apologize this minute.
I shan't!
Don't take her tantrum too literally. She's always on the brink of acutely regressive behavior. But she was putting it on a little.
Could have fooled me. That hurt.
Aside from that, how did you find her?
Very suspicious of me, as you said.
I confess, a moment ago, I wished to provoke a strong reaction in her. In case you had any remaining doubts about her abnormality. Now, Nicholas, my tree. So you describe yourself as an atheist?
I don't think about it much. There are more important things.
More important than the existence of God? Perhaps you're afraid to think about it.
One can't really think about what one doesn't know.
You never think about tomorrow or next year?
Yes, but I can make reasonable prophecies about them based on experience.
Then I can make reasonable prophecies about God using the same formula. For one thing, God is very intelligent. I know that because I don't understand him, or her. I think I am quite intelligent. So God must be much more so, to give me no clues, no certainties, no sights, no reasons, no motives.
I'm sorry, it still means nothing to me.
Once I felt very much as you do. But then I had an experience that might help you to understand something of what I have just told you. I will tell you about it after dinner. I'm sure Julie will join us. She knows her behavior was unacceptable.
I feel awful about this afternoon. I brought you a peace offering.
Jasmine. Smells lovely. Thank you.
Nicholas and I have been talking about God. I was about to tell him the story.
I should like to hear it.
Very well. In the summer of 1922, I left Paris for Sedevara in the remote south of Norway. I had a keen amateur passion for ornithology, and I'd learned of a farmer who lived in the fir forest up there who had a vast knowledge of migrating birds. Gustav Nygård lived with a woman younger than him and her 2 children. She was not, as I first thought, his wife, but his sister-in-law. He told me his brother had gone away many years before. I think it was on the 3rd day I discovered their secret. His brother had not gone far. He lived a few miles up the river, entirely alone. And he was insane, wholly possessed by the conviction that he was to be visited by God. For 12 years he'd lived as a hermit, waiting for this visit. One more thing, he was blind. Or nearly. Now, like all young men, I saw myself as a saviour. And I had my medical training, so naturally I was determined to see this poor, deluded specimen. Gustav agreed on condition that I was on no account to make my presence known. One thing I was to understand, Henrik, as his brother was named, was a Jansenist. He believed in divine cruelty. In his system he was elect, chosen to be punished and tormented, like Job in the Old Testament. I arrived outside Henrik's hut the next morning, convinced I could help in some way. I knocked, and he opened the door. He said nothing as I explained that I was a doctor and that I believed the cataracts which made him blind could be cured. He simply turned and went back inside his hut. And a moment later he appeared again, holding a long axe, clearly bent on hacking me to pieces. If he'd not been blind, he would have killed me. As it was, I sprang back just in time and ran for my life. But it seemed incredible to me that a man should reject medicine, science, and reason so violently. But later I began to understand that he wanted to be blind. It made it more likely that one day he would see. As I fled, I heard him calling out the same phrase, an elemental cry that seemed to stretch out infinitely through the forest, over the water, into the stars. "Do you hear me, God? I am here." Those few words, again and again. I crept back in silence to watch. I found him kneeling in the snow, not in an attitude of prayer, but one of intent watching. Something was very close, as visible to him as the snow was to me. And then his true secret dawned on me. He was not waiting for God. He was meeting him face to face. He was not waiting for certainty. He lived in it. For the first time in my life, I felt unsure of my standards, my beliefs, my prejudices. I knew Henrik was having an experience beyond the scope of all my science and reason, and those disciplines would always be defective until they could truly comprehend what was happening in his mind. Suddenly a new world was revealed to me, a world beyond the one in which I lived, one which left me with a new sense of awareness of the vanity of so many things our age considers important.
Why have you told us this, Morris?
To help Nicholas understand that all that is past possesses the present. Sedavari possesses Purani. Whatever happens here now is essentially what happened to me 30 years ago in that forest.
Well, I must go to bed. I'm very tired. Good night.
I think I'll go for a stroll. I'm not very sleepy.
As you wish.
And thank you for possessing me.
You think you are Henrik, and I am God.
Wasn't that the point of the story?
Good night, my friend.
A few moments later, I was standing by the statue of Poseidon, straining to see if there was anyone coming in the dense black background of night. I had an idea it might be a man with an axe, but when a pale figure did emerge from the darkness, I knew at once it was Julie. And in that second, all pretense was abandoned. She was passionate, crushed her body against me as her mouth met mine. I caught her hand to kiss it, brushed my lips down its side and round the wrist to its telltale scar. And a second later, I had pushed her away and was reaching in my pocket for matches. In the brief, flickering light before she blew it out, I could see her teasing smile. Everything about her was Julie, but it was not her.
Nicholas, what's wrong?
Sorry, Nicholas is my twin brother.
What are you talking about?
The scar on your wrist, or rather on her wrist. Why didn't she come? Why send Sister June instead?
You know why. But don't be angry, Nick. My poor sister has misled greater experts than you. I know better than anyone how clever she is at suggesting the madness is in everyone else.
You're not fooling me. Your sister isn't mad, and I think she's very unkind to still doubt me.
You swear you're not in league with Morris? You've never signed any sort of contract with him?
Meaning you have?
Yes, but not for this. Look, do you know if there are any police on the island? Sometimes we get a little scared.
First you were ghosts, then schizophrenics, now victims of white slavery?
Actually, we're just two naive English girls who fancied an adventure and got themselves into some pretty deep water.
So what's your theory?
I wish I knew for sure. He questions Julie for hours each time after you leave. What you said, how you behaved. He wants to know every detail.
Does he hypnotize her?
Both of us. That extraordinary sense of having your mind expand out into the universe. You felt it?
I'm pretty sure there was some kind of hallucinogenic involved. Do you know what he's planning next?
Has Julie mentioned the 3 hearts thing?
What's that?
I'd rather Julie told you. It's rather shocking.
3 hearts? You mean me with both of you?
Well, that was his original idea. But I think it's been dropped now.
It's Val. He's treating us like pieces on a chessboard.
Nicholas, I don't want my sister to get hurt.
She won't be by me. I promise. My intentions towards Julie are entirely honourable. Well, not entirely, but you know what I mean.
Well, I get what Julie sees in you. Maybe the 3 hearts thing isn't such a bad idea after all. I'm kidding. Don't look so tempted. No, I must go now.
She smiled, turned towards the beach, and then we both froze. A man stood at the other side of the clearing. He was black, older than me, and a little taller, and wearing some kind of white medical coat.
Oh, God, it's Joe, our bloody watchdog. He can't speak, he's a mute. Harmless so far, but don't provoke him.
He stared at me without expression as June hurried away past him. Then all at once things happened very fast. Joe strode swiftly towards me, strong and quick as a leopard.
Hey.
He spat full in my face, then pushed me. I lost my footing and fell, and by the time I recovered, he was already walking away down the slope. As I wiped the spittle from my cheek, I cursed Conscious bitterly. If he had stood in front of me then, I would have murdered him. The next morning I woke late and went down to Mutsa Beach. I saw them at once, a girl in a pink summer dress waving from the top of a cliff a few hundred yards away. And then, with a leap of surprise, a second girl by her side. June had her hair down like her sister, but her skin was tanned and golden where Julie was Victorian pale. June grinned in welcome, but Julie held back, aloof and unsmiling.
Don't mind my sister. She's sulking. She knows about the kissing and how much you enjoyed it. Do shut up, June.
By the way, that nurse, bodyguard, whatever, roughed me up after you left last night.
That's terrible. You're all right.
He took me by surprise, that's all.
He just stands and stares. Gives us both the creeps.
So, what happens today?
We have no idea. Morris hasn't told us what we're supposed to do when you've seen through the mad routine. We thought we'd just be ourselves and see what happens. I'm off to work on my tan. I'll see you two at lunch. Did you really enjoy kissing her?
Only because I thought she was you.
I so wanted to come last night, but I had to let her meet you. It was in the script. I think we should talk, Nicholas. Clear the air a bit. You go first. Ask me anything.
All right. I know you didn't go to Oxford, as I'd have heard of you there, so it must be the other place?
Yes, Cambridge. Classics at Girton.
Then you must know old Miss Wainwright. Dr. Wainwright, I mean.
You're trying to catch me out. There was no Dr. Wainwright at Girton. Look, we can play 20 questions if you like, but I thought it might help establish my bona fides if I brought these with me.
She produced a pile of documents from her basket. A card from the pupils at the school where she taught for a term before coming to Greece. A recent letter from her mother in Dorset. Details of her bank account in London, and if there was any remaining doubt, her passport in the name of Miss J.N. Holmes. And the acting? Don't tell me you're not a professional.
June and I both dabbled a bit at Cambridge, then joined quite a good amateur company when we got to London, the Tavistock Rep. Last autumn they put on Lysistrata. June and I were both cast, alternating the leading role. Made a bit of a splash in theatrical circles.
And that's when Conscious contacted you?
He said his company, Polymus Films, was shooting a film called 3 Hearts in Greece this summer. He offered us the main parts. It all seemed above board.
What was this 3 Hearts supposed to be about?
It's based on a story that's apparently quite well known in Greece, about 2 English sisters who come to Greece, and the writer who falls in love with both of them. It's all terribly miserable and doesn't end well, of course. Oh, I must show you this as well.
It was a clipping from the London Evening Standard, dated January 8th, 1953, with a photograph of June and Julie posing in a London street. The copy was about how the lovely Holmes twins, just down from Cambridge, had won a big part in a new movie to be shot this summer.
Morris was pretty convincing. He had the money, the beautiful yacht. He even showed us the set designs. And then the madness began. I suppose we should have left as soon as we found out. He made it clear we wouldn't be held against our will. But of course, if we left, we'd never find out why.
You must have asked him.
He just calls it a play without writers or an audience. Only actors. That story he told last night about Sedivare, I think that's some kind of clue about the place of mystery in life. That's what he's trying to create here.
Casting himself as God.
But not out of vanity, more curiosity, to see how we react. He tells us roughly when to appear and disappear, and the sort of atmosphere he wants. Sometimes he'll give us specific lines, but mostly we improvise around the theme. He's fine with that as long as we stick to the main development. Oh, one thing you should know. He said all along that I shouldn't get emotionally involved with you, because one day I'd have to make you dislike me. He said it's because of making you fall for June instead, the 3 Hearts thing. But actually, I think he might have a much greater writer in mind. Yesterday afternoon, remember? After my little mad scene? Another magician once sent a young man hewing wood.
Prospero and Ferdinand, I should have picked up the reference.
One thing we should warn you about. We think he has a spy at the school. He's suspiciously well informed about you. It's a side of Morris I can't stand. He has cine cameras everywhere, telephoto lenses, listening devices.
But in spite of everything, you want to go on?
I suppose I just think that if we walked out, nothing like this would ever happen again. What do you think we should do?
I don't know. But it could be interesting when we see him again, now we both know the truth.
You can kiss me now if you want.
You think that will make me trust you?
I don't know. Might it? Nick, can I ask you something? Did you really not meet your friend in Athens?
I told you. She couldn't make it.
But you did arrange to see her.
Only to tell her it was no good. Look, forget about her. We're here now. Let's enjoy the moment.
What would you like to do?
Later, when we returned to the house, June was waiting. When she stood to greet us, I glimpsed beneath her open shirt her dark blue bikini. It gave me a pleasant shock. The bare navel, the golden skin, the amused, questioning eyes. I remembered the story of 3 Hearts, but banned the thought before it had a chance to grow.
Welcome, Pip!
Sorry?
I thought you claimed to have read English at Oxford.
Great Expectations, with Miss Havisham reincarnated as Conscious.
And you've got your very own Estella. I hope you're not serious. Where is Morris, anyway? He left a message. The yacht's coming back for us at 5. Nicholas is to return to school. Morris is locking the place up. Who knows what he's up to now?
Casually, she slipped off her shirt and turned her face to the sun. I knew I was being visually teased, and if human beings could purr, I should have done so then. As though sensing my lack of fidelity, Julie stood up quickly.
Let's go and look at the chapel. I assume I'm not invited. You assume correctly. I do think Tans are so terribly vulgar, don't you? I suppose you find this all very erotic. Twin sisters is quite the male fantasy,
I'm
isn't
not
it?
interested in June. Come here.
Nick, we shouldn't. Not in the chapel.
Why not? God isn't watching. You're so beautiful. I want you so much.
I know, I feel the same.
Julie, I've been waiting for you all my life. Do you feel like that?
I think so. I know I'm glad you feel that way. Oh my God, there's someone in here.
Joe, you snooping bastard! He must have seen us leave the house.
Let's just go. It's just too much. I'm going to have it out with Morris. Either Joe goes or we do. I feel soiled. Look, it's getting late. I better go.
Meet me on Mutsu Beach on Wednesday night. I'll wait all night if I have to.
I'll try. I promise.
I occupied the monotonous days until Wednesday with writing letters. I no longer doubted Julie's honesty, but still part of me yearned for the clinching proof. I composed letters to her mother, the manager of the bank where they held their account. And then, as an afterthought, I wrote to Girton College and Tavistock Rep. I posted these 5 letters, and with them ones to Mitford and his predecessor Leverrier, whose address I obtained through the school. And then, on Wednesday evening, I climbed the central crest of the island towards Barani. There, far below, anchored like a toy in Mutsu Bay, I saw the unmistakable white shape of Conscious's yacht. I felt my heart leap, and I knew instantly. Prospero had surrendered. By the time I arrived at the beach, Julie was already waiting.
Morris knows I'm here. We've had it all out. No more spying.
God, I want you so badly.
I know, but I'm sorry. I can't.
What's happened? What has he done?
It's not Morris. Just the time of the month.
Oh,
just
God.
Hold me, will you? I've missed you so much.
I'd like to have seen the old man's face when you told him about us.
He was as cool as you like. Just smiled and said, "Good, exactly as I expected." Then he went on about how everything up to now had simply been a rehearsal.
A rehearsal for what?
Well, firstly, all is to be explained this coming weekend. And then I think he has in mind a new role for all of us, with some new unsuspecting victim. He was terribly curious to know why I came to trust you.
What did you tell him?
That certain feelings between people can't be faked.
Later we took our clothes off and dived naked and unashamed into the dark water, where she proved she returned my passion in the most physical way possible, short of the ultimate act itself. And throughout, Conscious was as good as his word. We had not been spied on. I was at last sanctioned as the Ferdinand to his salt-haired, soft-lipped Miranda. Long after midnight I walked back towards the school. As I came towards the main ridge, the landscape was totally silent. Then from behind me I heard a sound, loud enough to make me seek the cover of a pine. A second after, there were 6 grey shadows standing along the skyline. I realized they were soldiers. I could just make out the indistinct outlines of guns, the dull sheen of a helmet. Abruptly, my heart lurched. They were in German uniforms. Seized by sudden panic, I ran for it. A second later, a very flare burst open, flooding the ridge with light. Then, my foot was caught, and I plunged headlong. I felt a searing jab as my outstretched hand hit the sharp edge of a stone, and my breath blasted from my lungs. I looked back to see a tripwire strung between 2 trees. In a moment, I was surrounded by the soldiers. 2 men came behind me, jerking me to my feet. Another man stood in the center of the path, apparently in charge.
What the bloody hell's the game? You speak English? Sprechen Sie English?
They took not the slightest notice. Now I was safely secured, they ignored me and talked to each other in low voices, laughing and smoking. I could tell in a moment they were all authentically German, not just Greeks who knew a few words.
When you've finished with the play acting, perhaps you'll tell me what this is all about.
The commanding officer was young, with pale, handsome features and a slight limp as he walked. He did not look brutal, more a man doing an unpleasant job as efficiently as possible. He stared at me but said nothing. A moment later, another man appeared. He wore the peaked hat of a colonel and an eagle badge, a hard face with a thin mouth, the classic Nazi sadist.
I must say you look the part. Will the director be joining us?
I tried to sound amused, but the tremble in my voice betrayed me. I knew the whole situation was put on for my benefit, but it felt horribly real. At last I heard more people coming. There were 3 of them, 2 soldiers and their prisoner. He was stripped to the waist and groaned as they prodded him forward. I had a sudden sense of the mask running out of control. His stumbling barefoot walk seemed real, not acted. As he came level, he looked at me with the most violent loathing and contempt, and hissed in Greek one simple word.
Protodis!
Traitor. As my guards held me vice tight, he suddenly bolted in a vain attempt at escape. He can't have got more than 10 yards. There was a cry, a sickening scream of pain, the sound of a body being kicked and butt-ended with rifles. They dragged him to his feet, and suddenly the night was torn open by the most tremendous cry. It was just one word, but the most Greek of all words. It came out more a diabolical howl than anything else, right from his very inmost core. The colonel whipped round like a steel spring and delivered a savage smashing slap across his captive's face. It knocked the man's head sideways and shocked me almost as if I was the one hit. The colonel came to me now. His face had a basilisk coldness, and he spoke in careful, over-enunciated English.
It is not ended.
What isn't?
To answer, I found myself jerked forward and forced to sit. A minute later, they had roped my ankles together, then hoisted me back against a boulder. One of the guards threw a nearly blunt knife at my feet, then they all turned and walked away without a word. It took me another frustrating half an hour to slice the ropes and free myself. Beneath my anger and shock, the colonel's words echoed around my head. It is not ended. The next day the post came on the noon boat from the mainland, and there was a rare letter for me. I knew Alison's handwriting immediately. I slit the envelope, and my last letter to her fell out, unopened. There was nothing else. Later that afternoon, another letter was delivered, this time by hand. It was as brutal and unexpected as a slap across the face.
Nicholas, any further visits to Barani will be in vain. I do not think I have to explain why. You have gravely disappointed me.
At first I felt a bitter anger, but later I grew more optimistic as I decided it must be some testing trick like the dice game and the suicide pill. But I was wrong. When I arrived back on Saturday afternoon, Barani was deserted. Conscious's yacht no longer sat at anchor in Mutsu Bay. It slowly dawned on me I was defeated. I had assumed the experiment required my presence above all, but perhaps I had been a mere sideshow, discarded as soon as I had tried to gain too much prominence. But as ever with Conscious, nothing was as it seemed.
My dear sweet Nicholas, I'm so sorry to hear you've been ill. Morris gave us your letter. I'm just the same as you, used to catch every germ my wretched little brats brought into class. The old boy has actually been rather an angel in your absence, though he positively revels in being dark and enigmatic. But he has let slip that he wants to tell you the last chapter of his life, and also that you will be expecting it now. What can he mean?
I had to smile at the old man's tricks. Julie had never seen my handwriting, so a letter from me would have been an easy thing to forge. Why he should want to throw up these obstacles I couldn't imagine, but I no longer cared. She was mine. She made that clear in every line. Julie's letter had arrived along with another, with no clue as to who sent it. It was only later I remembered this other letter and tore it open impatiently. There was a typewritten note inside, but my eye fell instantly on 2 newspaper cuttings pinned to the top of the note. I read the headline on the first, then read it again. The first words, Air hostess suicide. Australian air hostess Alison Kelly, 24. Was yesterday found unconscious on her bed in the flat she shared in Russell Square. She was rushed to the Middlesex Hospital but found to be dead on admission.
An inquest will be held next week.
The second cutting was a dry account of the coroner's inquest. It stated she had taken an overdose of sleeping pills. Her flatmate, Margaret Taylor, told the inquest Miss Kelly had recently been depressed over the end of an unhappy love affair. A verdict of suicide was recorded. My mind numb, my hands shaking, I finally read the note. It was from Margaret and was short and simple.
Dear Nicholas, I'm sorry. This will come as a great shock. Ali was very depressed when she came back from Athens, but she never breathed a bad word about you. I can't understand any man not seeing who she really was and not wanting her, but I don't understand men, I suppose. Yours, very sadly, Margaret.
I thought of Alison then, back in Russell Square. Things she did, things she was. I thought of her on Parnassus, of her essential innocence and kindness. The moment when I knew I loved her, and yet felt that love was not enough. And then I thought of the bitter scenes that followed my confession. Her words on the day of our parting in London returned to haunt me. I don't think you know what sadness means. She had known me so much better than I knew myself. And yet, still, she loved me.
Nicholas.
I'm expected.
Yes. Come in, of course. You've cut your hand.
I tripped, as I think you know.
That was not intended. I hope you accept that.
I'm not accepting anything anymore. Except the truth.
You may find you were happier not knowing it.
Does Julie know you forged that letter from me?
It was her letter to you that was the forgery.
Sorry, I've been bitten once too often. Now, once and for all, will you tell me what's going on?
If you wish. Many years ago, I had a small private theatre here. My friends and I put on plays to amuse ourselves. Before the war, I conceived a new kind of drama, one in which the separation between actors and audience was abolished, and notions of stage, proscenium, and auditorium were discarded. The narrative would be fluid, with only a fixed point of departure and conclusion. Between these points, the participants would invent their own drama. Otto and Pirandello were thinking along the same lines, of course, but the element they could not bring themselves to discard was the audience.
I admit it sounds convincing, but then so did your other explanations.
We are all actors here, my friend, and all here is artifice. None of us is what we really are. We all lie some of the time, and some of us lie all the time.
All except me.
You have much to learn, Nicholas. You're a very long way from your true self. Alas, for you the comedy is over. I am telling you now, as the director, that you have failed to gain a part. And even if you had, it would not have brought you the young woman you find so seductive. Her promises to you are worth nothing. She is acting, amusing herself. Playing Olivia to your Malvolio.
And I suppose her name is not Julie Holmes.
Her name is Lily, and you will see neither her nor Rose again. Take my advice, Nicholas. Go back to England. Make it up with this girl you spoke of. Marry her, have a family, and learn to be what you really are.
I'm tired of this. I want to talk to the girls.
They are in Athens, and have no desire to see you.
I don't believe that. Look, if Julie and I have spoiled your plans, I'm sincerely sorry.
My plans are whatever happens. You cannot spoil that.
You must have known we would see through the parts you gave us.
The object of the meta-theatre is precisely that, to allow the participants to see through their initial roles in it. But in classical tragedy, that is only the katastasis, the moment before the catastrophe. Or comedy, as the case may be. Now, you may return to the school if you wish, but If you prefer to stay, we will meet again for dinner, and I will tell you the last chapter of my story. Their commanding officer was named Lieutenant Anton Kluber. He was a handsome, cultured young man of 27, with a slight limp from where he'd been wounded earlier in the war.
Yes, I met him the other night.
You met an actor playing him. The real Anton is dead. He invited me to become the new mayor of the village. He said it was the will of the villagers themselves. I knew why. None of them wanted the odium of collaboration that came with the job. My new role forced me into frequent contact with Anton. I found him to be a sensitive young man, more than disposed to be ashamed of his uniform and what it stood for. And for a while, Germans and Greeks lived in comparative harmony. But then an SS officer was delegated to our group of islands to stiffen morale, as it were. His name was Colonel Dietrich Wimmel, and his approach was simple. For every German soldier killed by the resistance, 20 Greek hostages would be executed. One afternoon, Anton came to see me. Immediately, I knew something was terribly wrong. That morning, 4 of the Germans stationed at Barani had been shot dead by Greek resistance fighters, guerrillas from the mainland. Wimmel was already on his way with a troop of Die Raven, a crack SS unit. As soon as he arrived, he chose 79 men from the village as hostages. And then he pointed at me. I was to be the 80th. While we waited, the rest of the villagers searched the island for the guerrillas. But at nightfall they returned in despair. They had found no trace of them. Wimmel knew they would fail because of one simple fact. The Germans had already captured the guerrillas themselves. Their leader was a man from Crete, quite like the one you saw. And some little time after this, I was summoned to see Wimmel. I think anyone but a doctor might have fainted at the sight that greeted me. In the middle of the room, roped to a table, was a naked young man. His genitals had been removed with a bolt cutter. Another of the men lay on the floor, already dead. The third man, the Cretan, was tied to a chair in the corner, evidently not tortured yet. Wimmel looked at me and said in English, "Before my men start on that murderer there, I wish you to speak to him. I want the names of his friends, hiding places, arms stashes. If he gives me these, I give my word he will be executed in a correct military manner." I did exactly as Wimmel ordered. I told the guerrilla I was no collaborator, that Greece would forgive him if he spared himself further suffering. I used every argument, but his expression never changed from one of intense hostility. He spoke just one word.
Traitor.
Prodotis. And then, at the very end, that cry, that one elemental and most Greek of words, eleftheuria, freedom. For him it was a weapon, the only one he had left. The next morning I was marched with all the other hostages to the harbour. The entire village was there, waiting. Wimmel announced that the surviving guerrilla would now be executed, and after him all the hostages. He said he was prepared to commute the death sentence on one condition, that I, as mayor of the village, personally carry out the execution.
What did you reply?
Well, of course, I had no choice. It was one life for 80. So I took the submachine gun he offered me. The hostages cheered and crossed themselves, then fell silent as I went within a few feet of the guerrilla. They had smashed in his teeth and burnt his tongue to the roots, but they had made one mistake. They had not gouged out his eyes, which still burned with defiance. I aimed the gun and pressed the trigger. A click. It was empty. I turned to Vimmel, and as I looked at his impassive face, I suddenly understood. I was to club the gorilla to death. I had no choice. I must do this terrible thing. But I let a fatal few seconds elapse, and in that time, the most momentous 5 seconds of my life, I understood I was being offered one last choice. Eleftheria, freedom. The final right to deny, to be free. I suddenly saw with terrible clarity that I was the only person in that square who had the freedom left to make a choice, and that the enunciation and defence of that freedom was more important than common sense, self-preservation, and even my own life. Again and again, since that moment, those 80 murdered villagers have risen in the night to accuse me. But all I have to set against their crucified faces are those few seconds of transcendent knowledge. I dropped the gun and stood beside the gorilla. I said the one word he could no longer say. I said it for both of us. Eleftheria.
And after that?
I remember the screams as the firing began. I then closed my eyes as the first bullets hit me. Half an hour later, when the slaughter was over, I was found lying in a pool of blood, still breathing. They carried me home and hid me, and while I recovered, an empty coffin was buried. 2 days after the execution, Anton's body was found under the wall of the village school. He had shot himself in an act of contrition.
Poor Anton. At least there was one good German there.
No. Unless you think suicide is good. Either you enlist under that gorilla, that man who knew only one true word, or you enlist under Anton. You watch and despair. One is physical suicide, the other moral.
I can still feel pity for him.
You can, but ought you to? The choice is simple. You can be a Vimmel, or you can be the gorilla. Or you can be an Anton who is torn between them, doing nothing and killing himself when it is too late.
I'm another Anton. Is that what I'm supposed to understand?
You are someone who does not understand what freedom is.
You mean I've shown too much freedom to please you?
Too much to be of further significance to me.
You can't treat people like this as if we're all just villagers to be shot so that you can prove some abstract theory of freedom.
For as long as you cherish your present view of freedom, it is you who holds the executioner's gun.
What makes you so sure you know my real self?
I do not claim that. But my decision to end the mask is based on the certain knowledge that you are incapable of knowing it yourself. There is to be a small final ceremony in the morning, but if you wish to leave immediately, it is of no great importance.
Don't worry, I'd hate to miss the curtain call.
Well, then I bid you good night. And I repeat, Lily and Rose are not here. No one is here. The game is over, Nicholas. The players have left the stage.
Later, still angry and bewildered, I walked down to Mutsa Beach. Slowly, I began to hope the whole evening had been yet one more test, some sort of final ordeal to be endured before admittance to the inner circle. I had, so to speak, been brought before the firing squad, but this time there was to be a last-minute reprieve. The longer he denied me Julie now, the more he followed the philosophy of a Vimmel. And at least I knew Conscious was a very different human being. If he was cruel, it was, by his own lights, to be kind. Conscious could not have known of his story's secret relevance to me. He had simply guessed that for me freedom meant the freedom to satisfy personal desire and private ambition. Against that he set a freedom that must be responsible for its actions. A moral imperative, not a political or a democratic one. I knew I couldn't answer his charge, the question his story posed. It was as though he had planted a succubus in my back, a knowledge I did not want. And in the grey silence of the night, my thoughts finally wandered, not to Julie, but to Alison. Her death detracted